Folks, Brian Blessing in Las Vegas. Thrilled to be with you. Another week of NFL action coming up. Week 3, our NFL line movement report and the opening numbers, our first peek at it. What a weekend to recap, where we're talking about tons of points, but the big story, massive injuries. And that's one thing that we were a little leery of with no true training camp, with constant pad work and contact drills, no preseason games. Non-contact injuries, Galladay with the Lions, Tyrod Taylor didn't go for the Chargers this week, and then the Niners, devastating news, injuries around the league. Something we just have to pay attention to. It's that kind of year. But let's take a look at these numbers, and again, we'll start with what the advanced number was posted at the Westgate, the Superbook, before the games were played, then what the market reaction was on a Sunday. Let's talk about the Thursday night game. The Jags were a 1-point favorite. They are up to 2.5 hosting Miami. Total on the game is 44. Hey, listen, good for the Jags and the Dolphins being competitive. Jags win week 1, took Tennessee to the wire in week 2. And listen, Minshew's doing a really nice job. The Robinson kid, the running back's doing a good job, and they're playing hard for Marone. The Dolphins, we knew that Patriots game was going to be a little quirky from week 1. Both of those offenses were going to wake up. Fitzpatrick got some good things done. What a weapon Gesicki is. Actually, a pretty interesting and evenly matched football game. Total in the game is 44. You might see 3 here. I think 3 could pop up during the course of the week leading up to the game, but maybe it could get bought back. But 3 likely will be the closing number. The Raiders, cross-country travel, short work week after the Monday night game time of this taping, yet to play the Saints. Patriots, a great, fun, entertaining game in Seattle on Sunday night, and we knew the Patriots couldn't just be running Cam Newton time and time again. He had to start stretching the field a little bit, and he was doing that. Edelman, he had a rapport with, Henry, and, of course, the bevy of backs, but Newton using his feet and stretching the football game. Don't sleep on the Patriots. This is an interesting team, and they're going to evolve as the season goes on. Pending what happens Monday night, you may see 7. It's the Patriots. They're a public team. Let's go to the Rams. Cross-country back-to-back weeks. 3.5 was the projected number for the Bills game with the Rams. It's down to 3 minus 20, which means it could bounce back through 3 again. The total in the game is 44.5. But listen, the Rams took care of business. Cross-country travel, beat the Eagles, who are just a train wreck right now. But this Rams team, Goff, he's got Robert Woods. It's an interesting team with a lot of ability in a bounce-back mode this year. Back-to-back games on the East Coast could be tough for the Rams. And what do we say about Josh Allen? Incredible. 4 touchdown passes, making plays with his feet. The Bills, by the way, they were missing their 2 middle linebackers that helped the Dolphins get a lot of points. With Edmonds and Milano out, they could be back next week, which will make life a little bit tougher for the Rams. But the Bills start 2-0. And how about Stephon Diggs, by the way, himself has more passing yards on this past Sunday than the entire Vikings team did. How's that trade working out for Minnesota so far? Houston's at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh 5.5. It went up to 6. Total in the game is 45. It's hard to fault Houston here when you play Kansas City and Baltimore in back-to-back weeks, and then you've got to go on the road to play Pittsburgh. Connor had a big day for the Steelers. This is desperation time for Houston. 0-3. I don't think 0-2 is a death knell for anybody this year. 0-3 likely is. The total in the game is 45. I think you might see that total go up just a little bit. And then we go to San Francisco and the Giants. Here's the big news. This number was 6.5 before the game was played. My goodness, Garoppolo, Mostert, Bosa. I thought the Niners were going to regress this year. Now, unfortunately for them, it's a disaster. Mullins is a decent quarterback. He can manage a game. But that number is now really just plummeted down to -4 for the Niners. And how about the Giants? Saquon Barkley, he's got a knee injury. Just devastating. I mean, these two teams have the will to play the football game when they lost their main players. Incredible how both those teams got mauled. Tennessee was 1. It's up to 2.5 at Minnesota. Total 45.5. Through 2 weeks, Minnesota is a dumpster fire. The one thing I will say, and you don't want to be accused of talking out of both sides of your mouth, was that there would be teams that start slow, and 87% of the time, 0-2, you don't make the playoffs. but this is such a unique year. Some teams may take time to get up to speed, but it has not looked good for Minnesota. I mean, the absence of Diggs has really hurt that offense. And listen, Tennessee, you could see 3 here, even going in on the road, because you've got Henry, you've got Tannehill, you've got Brown, you've got Davis. I mean, they've got the weapons. Tennessee's been in some hard-fought, close games. That's a good thing, though. Good teams find ways to win close games. Washington's at Cleveland. Cleveland 5.5 was the number. It is now up to 6.5. Total on the game is 45.5. Washington ran into a buzzsaw against Arizona. Cleveland, don't forget, you may see 7 because they played a Thursday night game and extra time to prepare for this one. Let's go to Cincinnati at Philadelphia. Philly was 6. It's down to 5.5. The total's 45.5. Philly gets mauled by the Rams. Yikes. The Eagles are a mess, and Cincinnati through 2 games. Burrow's, look more than serviceable, but that offense is limited at times. But the one thing, Cincinnati's competing, so understandably that number's coming down. It's in that dead zone, 5.5, so it could kind of pinball back and forth throughout the course of the week. Let's go to Chicago and Atlanta. Atlanta's laying 3, and the total on the game is 48. When a team, our buddy Chris David at Vegas Insider gave me this one. When a team had scored 39 points, it hadn't happened since like the 1930s that a team with no turnovers scores 39 points and loses a game. Or just incredible. Atlanta, what was it? What are they doing? It's an odds they can't cover the football. Boy, how do you recover? Matt Ryan, by the way, had a great game. And then the Falcons just flat out gave the game away. The Bears, a total on the game is 48. Just doing what they do. Sometimes it's not pretty, but it can be effective. To me, this one is all about Atlanta's mindset. They could either roll over and run away, but I think this could be a team that's a little ticked off, and the Bears could be walking into a buzzsaw. In a weird way, I can see this number actually going above 3. I think people will think Atlanta's going to be a mad football team. All right, let's move on to the Jets in Indianapolis. Colts were 7. It's up to 9. The Jets are a disaster. Offense is just non-existent. And, Indianapolis stubbed their toe in week 1 against the Jags, but the way the Jags played in week 2, maybe it's not that disconcerting. And again, a transition period for Phillip Rivers. As bad as the Jets are, and the Colts are no great shakes at the moment, that number could get to 10. Total on the game is 45. Carolina at the Chargers. Chargers were 6. It's up to 6.5. Now, Anthony Lynn's saying when Tyrod Taylor comes back, he's back in. Herbert looked pretty good. For 3 quarters, he outplayed Mahomes. This kid's got a future. An interesting game here. Carolina's got to go cross country. I think 7s will absolutely appear in this particular game. You got Detroit at Arizona. Arizona was 3.5 before the game was played. It is now up to 5.5. They beat the Redskins 30-15. Murray is a fun player. These guys are feeling it, and he's already got a rapport going with Hopkins. Interesting team. Detroit, if Galladay comes back, I'll tell you what, I'd be taking a peek here, and I think you're waiting to see what's going on there. I think that game's a track meet. I think Stafford, if he can get Galladay back in the lineup, they're capable of stretching the field. Tampa Bay, it was 3.5. It is now up to 5.5 at Denver because the news for Denver not good. First, they lose Von Miller before the season. Drew Lock, separated shoulder. He is out. Driscoll came in. He wasn't horrible against the Steelers. He actually played marginally well. But again, the total on the game is 44.5. That total may come down even with Tom Brady because the Patriots weren't really stretching the field that much against the Panthers. I'd look for that total to come down. Dallas at Seattle, 3.5 up to 4.5. This number is going to rise up to 5.5. And watch out for the total. You're still waiting for the total to come in on this one. This total's got to be in the 50s. Russell Wilson is incredible. Makes plays with his feet. He throws a great deep ball. Just game in, game out. Doesn't matter who his wide receivers are. He's got a thing going on with Metcalf now. That Seattle offense is clicking, and Dallas feels good about themselves getting the miracle win. So I would look for a very high total in this game, and for when the market number comes out, I would look for that number to go up. And then you get to the Sunday night game. Green Bay, New Orleans. New Orleans 4.5. It's down to 3.5 because the Packers offense Jones was terrific. Rodgers is slinging it around. He's got a great rapport. We know that with Devontae Adams. There's another game that could be, certainly capable of featuring a track meet. It'll be interesting to see the Saints offense, though, without Michael Thomas. I look for Emmanuel Sanders to do some pretty good things. And then the Monday night game, week 3, I mean, you can make the case. It is the regular season game of the year, and we're only in week 3. It could have ramifications for home field advantage in the playoffs down the road. Kansas City at Baltimore. Baltimore was 2.5. It's up to 3. The total is 52. Baltimore, they step on Cleveland's neck. They step on Houston's neck. They look great. Number goes up. Don't sleep on what the Chiefs did at the Chargers. They had to work hard, fight their way, dig deep to win that game. I had learned more about a team when they win a hard-fought, close contest. That was a great effort. And Tyreek Hill got going, Kelsey got going. The weapons are there for Kansas City, and it was, they had to travel. But what a game! Mahomes, we get Lamar Jackson, and I'm telling you that it may be the game that we'll look back at the end of the year that gives somebody home field advantage. And who knows? Maybe there are fans around by that time. This is such a great game. I do think the total of 52 will go up. I think Mahomes and Lamar Jackson certainly have the capabilities of putting on a very big show for us in that game. There you have it. It's week 3, the line movement report. Boy, monitor these injuries, and hopefully it's not a trend. Hopefully you get it out of the way. But, boy, what a rugged week for the Niners specifically. The Giants lose Barkley. The Broncos lose their quarterback. Wow, crazy. But we want to keep tabs on it because we want to get you ahead of the curve. We want to get you the best of the number because, as we always say, it's not always who you bet sometimes. It's when you bet them. Brian Blessing in Las Vegas. Glad to be with you with our line movement report. Starting a brand new week here at VegasInsider.com.